Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for ICONversations. The ICON program is designed to celebrate our company's top producers. These agents have not only exceeded capping status, but have also reached exceptional milestones, earning them various stock grants and the opportunity to earn back their paid company dollar. It does not get better than this. Today from Ontario, we have Daniel Hale. From Texas, we have Brant Phillips. From California, we have Daisy Dye. From Florida, we have Carla James. And our fantastic moderator is Jeff Dickinson from Washington. Jeff, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here, and I'm excited to be here to moderate another iConversation. I don't know how many iConversations I've done, but it's probably 20 or 30 of them so far in my 8-year career with EXP. So welcome, panel, and we'll get started. Why don't we go around the room, just starting with Daniel, and just introduce yourself. How long have you been in real estate? How long with EXP? Maybe what inspired you to join EXP? Do you work as a solo agent? Are you on a team or have a team? And number of transactions. So Daniel, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Daniel Hale. I'm from Burlington, Ontario. I've been with EXP now. I'm going on my 5th year. And before that, I was doing property for about 3 years, just learning the ins and outs of working with investors there. Transactions sounds funny, but I haven't been tracking the number of transactions. I've been keeping track of total volume. Last year I did just over 15 million. This year I'm on pace for 25 to 30 million. I'm working as a solo agent. I do have a little bit of a back end, couple people helping me with like little things like helping me with video editing, some media stuff and paperwork. But yeah, I'm operating as a solo agent right now.
That is awesome. Daisy, how about you?
Yeah, I joined EXP for a little bit more than 1 year. I'm working on my own. So although I market myself as a group, but I just with myself and my TC and some people taking videos for me. For the transactions, last year I did more than 30 million, and this year I have one transaction in escrow for over 10 million,
Wow.
two listing on the market. So so far closed and pending for almost 40 million. So this year, hopefully, I can reach to, I think maybe 1 million net commission. And I'm
Amazing.
trying to grow my team. Some people do reach out to me, so it seems like they interested to work together. But I'm concentrated on the higher market, so I'm a little bit picky with who I'm working with. So hopefully I can find someone there match each other.
That is awesome, Daisy. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, perfect. Carla?
Hi, all. Carla Jaimes from Miami, Florida. Been with EXP. I'm going on to my 4th year now. I joined in 2020. I'm also somewhat of a solo agent. I do have a couple of agents under me. One of them that is actually full time and working on the business. I also have a couple of assistants that help me with back end stuff as well. Last year, I had about 25 transactions. And I was able to attain the icon status in October, and this year working towards it as well. Very excited to be here.
Fabulous. Thank you. And Brant, how about you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Brant Phillips. I'm from Houston, Texas. I've been in real estate for about 18 years, and I started primarily a real estate investor, and was licensed for many years. The kind of funny thing was I had a full-time agent, so I didn't use my license, and I uh, essentially terminated or just didn't renew my license. And in late 2017, early 2018, I heard about EXP, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! You're going to give me stock, and I can build a team and revenue share. So I reactivated my license. So I've been licensed again since 2018. I think this is collectively me and my wife's 6th or 7th icon. So,
Awesome.
and that production is mainly ours. Like we are an investment company, so 90 probably +% of my listings do come from our properties that we flip or lease. Our production has slowed down a little bit though in this market. We're
Yep.
doing more, buying rentals and holding things rather than flipping them. But yeah, no, I love EXP. I've got about 350 agents in my downline, so I do focus more on figuring out ways to, invest in real estate or create passive streams of income. And so a big part of that for me with EXP has been building a team of agents. So I spend a lot of time coaching, teaching my agents, primarily to invest. Agents who want to invest is our focus. But yeah, I guess that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's amazing, Brent, to have 350 agents in your downline. Congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you. I had
So
a great
Ken-
sponsor, so he paved the way, and I just kind of followed what he did. So
no,
maybe
absolutely. No, that is amazing. Cool. I'll bring up the rear here. So Jeff Dickinson from Seattle, Washington. I've been practicing for 40 years. And had a long career with Remax, and then Glenn Sanford was wooing me for about 4 years, and finally caved in November, kind of Thanksgiving Day, actually, of 2017. And I think I came over at about agent 5,000, and it's just been a rocket ship ever since. And as I think Brant was saying, the stock has been amazing. I haven't had quite the success in my agent attraction, but it is a great passive income opportunity. So I do highly respect that. I work as a solo agent, average about 70 or 80 transactions a year, typically in the top 50. Solo agents. I think I'm at 61 right now, so I've got a little bit of work to do to get back in there. But it's been an amazing journey with EXP so far. So, all right, well, let's dig into a few questions here. So for me, I am all about client generation. My mantra is I wake up every day and say that I'm not in the real estate business. I'm really in the client generation business. If I don't have someone to talk to, I'm out of business. So going around to the panel, let's just kind of stay in order. We'll start with Daniel again. What is your primary client generator?
Yeah, mine's been very social media, especially YouTube. I find what I've been doing, I've been putting out YouTube videos, putting the proper SEO behind them. So I guess I like to say they're like evergreen content, always grow. I really do because I have videos that I've posted a couple of years ago that are still working for me today. So I like to say it's something that you can get leads sleep. It happens often where I wake up in the so that's my source.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think we had another panel member that was mentioning video. I mean, video just seems to be the flavor going right now. So really looking forward to personally digging in to that a little bit more. So Daisy, how about you? You're doing $10 million deals. What is your main lead generation?
So I also do the social media. There's
Mhm.
a Chinese app called the Red Book. It was very useful in the beginning and do generate some leads. And also some of my clients are my past friends, and now they become some of the people bought a house with me. They start to selling. So I generate more leads, and I'll do work with some contractors, and they refer me some good clients.
Very good. What was the name of the source?
It's called Red Book.
A red book, like
Red Book.
the color red.
It's called Red. Yeah, you can find the Apple Store by ad. Red.
Okay.
RE.
Okay. Perfect. No, that sounds great. Thank
Yeah,
you,
no problem.
Carla. How about you?
I've actually had my marketing plan follows a lot of meta ads. 60% of my book of business is international investors from Latin America. So I do a lot of different pre-construction developments, kind of talking about how it is to invest in the US, primarily in the Miami area. And through that process, through that funnel, I connect with a lot of Latin American investors looking to expand their investments here in the US. So that's 60% of my business. Local wise here in Miami, a lot of organic relationships, meeting people, like you were saying earlier, connections, right? That has been more of the organic base. But I agree, I think it was with Daniel, the exposure on YouTube. I also started like slowly coming into video maybe in 2021. And it has been a game changer. People definitely are looking at you being in YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform you are, because they want to get to know you, before they do business with you. So the more that we're exposed out there, the easier it is for that person to know to get to know you. I've had people that just texted me out of seeing videos and said, "I'm ready," and I
Yes.
didn't have an interaction with them before. So it's important that we continue marketing ourselves and, in a very, organic and authentic way, in
Yes.
whatever market we focus on.
No, very good. How often do you put a video together or post a video, Carla?
Um, so I could be doing better, but normally at least I would say once a week.
Okay.
Right now I'm in a process of rebranding a little bit, but for the most part, YouTube's were once a week for sure, and then Reels in Instagram maybe twice a week, or some sort of like something, right? So you have Reels, you have stories. For sure, I move more on the stories part, but
Mhm.
an actual video, I would say at the minimum once. I know experts would say that you need to do at least maybe three or more, but I think it really depends on the audience that you're catering to too.
Okay, very good. And Daniel, how about yourself as far as how often are you posting your videos?
Once a week. I haven't been going too crazy. Like on YouTube, once a week. I find I try to keep sticking to that, and I try to do some videos that are like over 10 minutes, because I know the algorithm with YouTube, it's like seems to be the longer videos you do, the better they push them out, or the more they push them out for you.
Good nugget there. Okay, yeah, very good. Yeah, there's probably just a plethora of short videos, and so yeah, going longer, I could see where that would make some sense.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. I think the algorithm of YouTube, from what I find, is that they need space every couple minutes to put their ads in. It's
Ah,
kind of,
okay.
you do them that favor of having videos that are like 10, 12 minutes long or even longer, they have more ad space for them. So if you increase your watch time and they see that it's a video that the audience is enjoying and watching, then they find people that are similar like audience to what you want. So buyer or somebody moving to patient, and then they push it out to them to, you know, keep it going further because it helps them and it helps you. So ultimately, that's the goal: is watch time from social media platform.
Yeah, no, great information. Thank you both. Brant, how about you? What's your primary lead generation source?
To buy property, we've done everything over the years, but our primary is SEO. We started doing that many years ago, and that was kind of the goal, was to get it to where we didn't have to do any other marketing, essentially paid marketing. So we kind of weaned our way off of pay per click and direct mail. So that's our primary thing. But I do a lot of video and social media content as well, for other aspects of the business. So we also, because I'm always talking to agents and people in the world who know that we, buy properties, so we get a lot of organic leads. That's probably about 30%. Just comes from other people, and then everything else is SEO.
Okay, very good. So when you're excuse me, when you're doing social media, what kind of ads are you posting? Is there a consistent type of ad that you're, and maybe what the call to action or the CTA is on something like that?
Yeah, so I'm not doing a lot of ads. Mine's all organic.
Okay.
Mine's all organic. Like, I do a lot in terms of, and this helps more so for agent attraction and some of the things I do on coaching, but not so much for real estate transactions.
Okay, very good. Perfect. So again, bringing up the rear here. So my lead generation source is quite different than everyone else's, and in the year 2000, I just had this epiphany. Was a lot of my real estate career was building resort communities from Whistler, British Columbia, down to Southern California and into Arizona, and so I stopped that and just started focusing on residential real estate. And I was sitting at Starbucks and saying, geez, I had been living out of town in all these different places for 23 years and back in Seattle now. And it kind of dawned on me, just sitting at Starbucks at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where are my clients? And the epiphany I had is that they're at the workplace. So I've really dedicated the last 25 years to focusing on serving employees at small to medium size businesses by providing financial and health wellness education. So kind of a go-giver type modality there. And I found in the good times, which there is a pretty, what, a 6 or 7 year stretch there when I started, and then when we got into 2008, things changed, dramatically. But even in the bad times, I found that employees still needed real estate services, and so I will have one transaction for every 100 employees that I represent. So I've got about 30, I think 33 companies that I represent. There's about 5,000 employees aggregately out of that, and I'll do about 50 transactions out of that group. So that ratio, service ratio, just hasn't changed over the years. And these are the kindest real estate clients. They're, I'm leveraging off the credibility of the company. They're saying, hey, if it's good enough for the widget company, it's good enough for me. Let's go buy a house. Or, hey, Jeff, can you come over next Tuesday and list my house? So I don't, I have a listing presentation, but I don't often have to employ it because I just have no competition, and these guys are teed up ready to go. So, I don't have to incubate them for 9 months or 2 years. So it's been a real interesting niche. I've tried to convey this to other agents over the years, and not too many takers. But anyways, that's been my my primary source. So if any of you have any interest in that, just from a standpoint, you might look at Revenos and their corporate affinity program to see if it makes any sense for you to do. So moving on, kind of a two-part question here. Number one is that, are you building your sphere of influence, and if so, how are you adding to your database? What types of people maybe? Maybe how big is your database? So kind of a broad question. We'll just say, Daniel, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I still think for me, I'm growing it still through social media, whether Instagram, people coming through there. And I find, just, I guess it's kind of like any business, but over time it's getting bigger and bigger. And the better job I do catering to the client, the more they refer me. So I find now my referrals is starting to grow, which before it was just a new business all the time through social media. And now I'm starting to get those referrals going. I still find Facebook and those tools are really great with keeping up and growing your sphere of influence. And now I'm just starting to build an email audience, which, to do email blasts, something that I think I wish I started with before. But yeah, that's something now I'm starting to do, just to, I guess, kind of say, own your audience.
Great phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Are you calling your database at all?
I follow up with them, especially after things are done and transactions are closed. I still keep in touch, checking with them, make sure everything is good. I probably could be doing it with new leads more often, but I guess the positive for what I'm doing on social media is most of my leads are very warm, because it's like an SEO type of thing where they're searching for what, I guess, the problem that I'm solving, and then when
Okay.
very warm. And I do the follow-ups, but I find majority of them, they're very warm leads and ready to go right off the hop, which is great.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and that's that has to be my second mantra in business, and that is, I just try to find client generation sources that generate the kindest, most teed up, ready to go, intent
Yeah.
clients to serve, because it takes so much effort to incubate somebody for 2 years or whatever it takes, and they don't know you. It's a know, like, and trust business that we're in. So that is so wonderful to hear. Just total confirmation there, Daniel. So good, good for you. That is awesome.
Yeah, that
Yeah. Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
doing video a lot, because I'm not against door knocking or cold calling or anything like that. I think it's good, but I realized the amount of calls you can make a day compared to the amount of views I can get with less time. It's just really been a game changer.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yep. No, you're definitely on the right track. So that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Excuse me, Daisy. How about
Yes.
you?
Yeah, because the market now is a little bit slower, I have more time to more focusing on the videos, not just the YouTube and the Red, and I'm also trying maybe do the TikTok. And now the video just become like shorter and shorter, maybe focusing on like 60 seconds videos, and find the most talented videographer to help you. And I also try to buy some ads, because all the platform you can promote by paying them, and the more fancy video is, and the faster it spread. And I'm not doing the cold calling and mailing, because I feel the videos is much more efficient. So now this market is slower. Is actually, I think, better for me to brand myself because I have more time to concentrate it on the good videos and trying to gain more followers. And I think more people know you, the easier the business will become.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think you're right. You're right on track and doing well. So good for you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Carla?
I have to agree. So my ever since I started doing the ads for Latin American, I already had like the funnel kind of built where once I did the ads, there will be some preliminary questions asked to them. And in hopes of obviously like filtering down the process and making them a little bit more qualified. And then once they put their information, it goes to my database in my CRM, and through there I'm already doing like email marketing pieces that goes to them. So I have that funnel already built for that market, for that client, and now I'm trying to build it as well for my more local base. It's in the same scenario, just doing video, either organic or pushing it through an ad, and then getting the leads that are interested through there. Because the way that I see ads is that when somebody clicks on an ad and wants to leave you their information, they're actually looking for something. Either they may or may not be ready right now, and that's why doing those questions, prompting questions help. But if they are, it's because they're actively looking for something, and that's a very warm lead that you want to call into. And then obviously follow up with the email marketing pieces. I just want to make sure that I am seen in every medium, either through their Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, email. I'll give them a call, to follow up if it was a true, interest, right? Or at least
Yes.
to engage them in conversation, to start a conversation. Because, like I said, they may not be ready until 3 or 6 months, maybe, but
Right.
at least I am their point in contact that actually picked up the phone and called them, and it's not just some other video that they're liking and moving on. It's just the
Perfect.
social media medium is so saturated that if we don't go back to like the basics, which is just like speaking to a human, then I think that's the huge differentiator in the business.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. For the Latin America consumer, do they have an affinity towards a certain home search program? Just in South America, like we see.
Right.
I think July for the Chinese, Asian
No,
community.
I
Is
don't.
there?
I haven't heard honestly of a specific tool that they use. If
Mhm.
anything, I think they do a lot of search on these platforms, YouTube, websites, SEO, to
Okay.
to find, a little bit more about the market.
Mhm.
And for a Latin American investor, that obviously has they think a lot in cash terms, right? Because they don't know what they have access to here. So what they're trying to do, it's either diversify their portfolio, or they're trying to protect their wealth, right? Because of a
Mhm.
lot of
Right.
economic or political factors over there. So they're just trying to find the right person that they can trust and be educated enough in what options they have available here, such as, for example, access to financing, which they do,
Mhm.
if they bring a strong capital, and just finding the right product. And in the majority of them, at least here in South Florida, look for pre-construction opportunities because that's what they're used to buying in Latin America. So their normal product to buy is going to be more towards pre-construction. And here Miami, we're very heavy in pre-construction, as you can
Right.
see, all the major towers that are being built.
Yes.
So it's something that is very familiar to them. So the sale itself is more about educating on the process and the products that you can find, and then building that relationship. Some of them that have already bought in the past year or feel very strong on the trust factor sometimes can buy properties from Zoom, like just literally
Yep.
jumping on a Zoom call, looking at the project, looking at the
Mhm.
numbers, location, and they just start buying over a Zoom call. Some other ones actually want to travel and see the location, and get a
Mhm.
little bit more of a feeling, and that's okay. But it comes down a lot to building the trust, because you want to find the right person, and once you do, then they start referring you to everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And, as we know, we're in the trust, business. And, the other thing that you said, too, Carla, was education. And, in our high tech world, where consumers might even know more than we do about a property,
Absolutely.
I think one of our biggest values is education. Because consumers don't do this every day. Kind of thank goodness.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
and
I
you
think.
want to share, because I was
Mhm.
on another call earlier this week, and we were talking about how many times, sometimes, especially when somebody's searching a specific location and they're going online, they're probably like reaching out to multiple people, right? And
Yes,
if they don't get the truth from one person, they're gonna get it from the next. So
exactly.
to your
Yeah.
best interest to like share the reality of things, and not
Right.
try to just sell a transaction, but actually build, a confidence, and trust with that person, and actually share the reality of what's happening, what's really moving, what's not moving, and where the opportunity is. And they like that, because you're being upfront to them, ultimately, they're gonna find out. So you just want to be as honest as you can on the reality of the market, and where you're seeing, based on your expertise, where the
Yep.
opportunities are, and based on their needs as well, of course.
Yeah. No, that all great information. No, thank you so much, Carla, for sharing. I think there are some great nuggets in that for all of us. Perfect. Brant, how about you?
Well, we have several different marketing channels, but what I think is most pertinent to this conversation is, for all of our deals that we do, we have to have capital for those. So we do raise a lot of money. So we are constantly, doing quote unquote marketing to lenders for our business. And what we primarily do, which works for everything, is what you mentioned, was education. So we do a lot of blogging, creating content, just educational resources, and then we follow up with emails. Like, do quite a bit of emails, but not to sell or pitch anything, just directing them to guides, resources, blogs, videos. It's just help, help, help. Don't do a lot of phone calls,
Mhm.
because our whole philosophy is like, we want them calling out or reaching out to us when they're ready, because that just makes the
Yep.
sale so much easier. So
Mhm.
we just try to build our database as much as possible to get people in, and then just educate them, help as much as we can, so that when they call us, we know that it's a pretty easy quote unquote sell at that point in time.
Sure, you bet. So, is this primarily just a drip campaign that you've loaded relevant education content that just periodically goes out to them, or?
We have, yes. So anyone who's new that signs up to our list gets a drip campaign.
Mhm.
So that's how they start, and then everyone else gets at least one weekly email with a blog, and then we also have videos and stuff like that online that they can find. And sometimes the weekly email will direct them to a video or a
Mhm.
case study. And then the last piece that I didn't mention is that we also do live events. So we'll pitch to some type of live event or networking event, like we did. It's probably one a little bit hoarse. We did an event this Wednesday night and had people there in person. So we did, we had food, drinks, presentation, and networked with everybody. And so we'll do those as well. If not every month, like every other month, we're typically putting on some type of small event to get people to.
Okay, and are these people that are in your database that you're inviting?
Yeah, primarily they're people in our database, but we'll also, for the events, those will get pushed out to our database, social media, and then we'll put them on platforms like Eventbrite and things like
Mhm.
that. So we'll get new people as well
Okay.
to our list.
Yeah, and are these people coming into just to be kind of client investors in your
For
portfolio?
Yeah, for that marketing channel, like we've got marketing channels for investment property, and I've got them for coaching because I do coaching and mentoring
Okay.
for investors and agents, and then also for raising capital. The last event, for example, was a little blend of, well, honestly, all three, because we had people who are investors or agents that came, and
Okay.
then we also had private lenders as well.
Nice. Okay. Very good. No, that's
Yeah.
that is really yeah, great information. How many attendees do you get at a typical event?
That one, we had about 55 registered, and then I
Yep.
think we had about 40 show up. So it was,
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
a
we
good.
filled the room up. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had some where it's like 5 or 10.
Okay.
But we've had some like, well, I used to run prior to COVID, we were running a monthly networking event, and we were getting 100 people plus show up on that one. But it was a lot of work. It took a
Yeah.
lot of work, and
No, absolutely.
I was, yeah. And so I was like, I need to slow some things down. And COVID came, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a break from that. This is a lot of work.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It changed the world for all of us
It
for
was real. It
sure.
was really good though. So some people I'm coaching, I do coach them to create some type of networking event, whether it's, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly, it could be once a
Yep.
year, biannually. To get in person, face to face contact with your people. And my thing is like, how do you convert customers into like a tribe or even raving fans?
Right.
And like with my lenders, I wrote a book years ago. It's called the Private Lender Playbook, and so that's done in terms of the world of educating, like that's just done incredibly well. So at the event on Wednesday, and I didn't ask them to do this, I just asked for a couple, if any lenders wanted to get up and share their experience about lending in general, not to me, but just in general.
Yeah.
And so because there's newbies in the room, and that may help them. And it turned into, I had several lenders get up and just turned into a big testimonial for me, which
Nice.
which was great. And that's that, but it was like they were authentically doing it, and that was just a case in
Absolutely.
point where they turned, quote unquote, from a customer to a raving fan. I had to tell the people there, I'm like, I did not pay these people or coach
Yeah,
them
that's
to talk
right.
this way, okay? So I promise you that it sounds like a pitch, but it's not. So that's just kind of like digging down the adding the layers onto it. It's really, really, really impactful. We had a lot of, they didn't want to leave. Like, okay, the event's over, and they were like hanging around for like an hour after. So
Wow.
they really, it's a really good way to kind of solidify and bring all your marketing together.
Yeah, that's a
And
great
and
success.
it
Wow.
also shows you how well your marketing is working.
Sure.
um, because people show what they're really committed to or interested in with their time and their money. And so when you pack a room, like, okay, it's working. People are really liking this. Or if nobody shows up, like, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board and work on my marketing because it's not working.
Yep. No, definitely. No, I think that's great. Yeah. One thing I'm learning today, just kind of confirming is that we all have our niche in our market. And I know in my greater Seattle market, we've got 32,000 real estate agents. Too many in my book. But what really makes you stand out, is just so critical to being able to do enough transactions to get to Icon, and have a good rewarding career in our business. So this with all of our panel members, it's really driving home. I just love everybody's unique niche. So no, fantastic. So in our I guess I can kind of finish it off myself too. So for many years, I really neglected my database. With my corporate affinity program, I don't put those clients in a CRM. I can pretty much do business on a napkin, which is kind of crazy. But I do have an Excel spreadsheet. I have a column for buyers. I have a column for sellers. Since my clients are teed up ready to go, I'm not having to incubate them very, very long. Usually they're transacting within a 90-day period. And a lot of that happens, that delay period is more indicative of available inventory out there that where the client has their aha moment and makes a purchase. So a lot of so it's really been the last 2 or 3 years, really kind of post COVID, that I've had my aha moment, and so I've been really focusing on my area connectors. These would be financial planners, attorneys, chiropractors, Edward Jones type agents, things like that. And these guys are real connectors. I mean, they just their personal spheres of interest, of influence, are very very large, and I can leverage off of each of these people to come in and give periodic lunch and learn sessions at the corporate accounts that I have. They're all they're in the client generation business as well, so they're all too happy to participate. And they like to get in the company environment, because on their own, without a system like I've developed, they have a hard time getting in those environments. So that's probably the biggest win that I've had, from my database. Aside from just literally picking up the phone, which I'm just not very good at doing, and just calling into my past database. In the challenging year, the more challenging year this year, just with market conditions, I've found that my database has come alive like I've never seen before. So the majority of kind of new transactions this year for me have really come from my database, and these are people that bought from me 20 years ago now. So it's time for them to move, things like that. So let's see. So in our high tech world here, we have this AI morphing in. Are any of you using AI in your business? Let's say, just aside from a chat GPT to build your resume, or to to put some listing text together. Anyone just of the panel want to share their AI experience, if you're using AI, or want to, or things like that?
I can jump in on that one. I am using AI to systematize some things, and to, for example, create a better marketing strategy. So I am using it, for example, to like look at my current, I don't know, social media content, and tell me what I could do probably better, and then direct me from there. Or with email marketing pieces, just rewriting some scripts on email, and just having those ready to go, so that I could just push them out like blast. I personally do like educational type of emails. So I'd like to put like some good data in there. So I just have it as a kind of like a copywriter to help me put a lot of information together, but that's still like good for email.
Mhm.
And also very attractive on the subject lines, because you can write a amazing email, on the body of it, but if the tagline, the subject line doesn't catch attention, nobody opens it. And I think that's definitely strategies that AI can actually help you, so quickly to get things done. Presentations, even the other day, I had a presentation to make, and I had all the information, but I didn't, have the presentation ready. And I found out that there was an AI that does presentations for you, but you just put in the data in there, and it did a 10, 12 live presentation in less than a minute with all
Wow.
the beautiful,
Yeah.
like beautiful presentation with images and everything, with the
Mhm.
information that I just gave it. So there's just so many things that it could really facilitate our life with.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Carla. Anyone else on the panel using AI at all?
I mean, I'm using it, but I'm at this point, I'm not sure if I'm using it or it's using me.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we're using it. I'm just like, excuse me. I live with it. Like it's becoming quickly a part of almost everything we do. Just to be honest, like I just so impacted by what it's able to do and the capabilities. Yeah, we're using it a lot, and my team members, as well, got about 15 employees, and I'm like, you shouldn't feel threatened by AI because everybody, I think everybody is like in the workforce. I'm like, you should feel threatened though if you don't learn how to use it quickly because
Yep.
it's not I guess it's a takeaway for some things, like it could take away or remove some things, but it's, to me, I just see it as it's a boost. It's a boost for everything, and it's an efficiency that we've never had before. And so it's going to be a problem if you continue to do things the old way and not use it. So yeah, we use it: sales, marketing, building out systems, ideas. Just I'm using it for management. Like we're grabbing phone call recordings on sales calls, and rather than listening to a 30 or 45-minute sales call, I could just I can have it transcribed and pick up like
Yep.
where it fell off from our sales process. So it's just every aspect of our business just about is being impacted some way or another.
Yep. No, thank you for sharing on that. And anyone else, and I'll chime in after. No? Okay. So I'm using AI pretty extensively now, especially that I'm pretty listing heavy. Of my 70, 80 transactions, about at least 60 of those are listings. And so I'm using a program called leadignition.ai. I'll put that in the chat deal here in a minute. But so it has a very robust voice bot, which has all the US and Canadian property data built into it. So we're using that just in a circle prospecting around my listings, and it's having a pretty dramatic effect. Not only in generating additional listing and interest, but also just kind of brand or personal personal awareness and open house participation. So, excuse me, it's just an area that I just never had the horsepower to do by myself, or had the gumption to hire someone to do this. And so it's identifying itself as AI as it's making its just real kind calls, nothing nothing big, but it'll interact just like you and I are interacting right at the moment. So pretty amazing from that standpoint. And I'll put that in the just something to take a look at, if I can spell it correctly. I think that's right. So perfect. All right, so let's move on from there. So we've heard a couple comments about our, let's say, just a little more challenging market this year. I think Daisy had mentioned something. I certainly mentioned it a little bit. Anything? We'll start with Daniel. Anything that you're doing differently this year to change just with market conditions?
Yeah, I think this year, because of the market conditions and the problems that buyers and sellers have been having, I've been really focused on solving the problem, and just trying to create content, conversation around solving the problems that people are having, putting stuff out there that literally solves a specific problem that people solve. One of them could be something like, as an example, like, how to get your condo sold in Toronto right now. It's no easy task. There is a lot of sale, and there's a lot of people that are searching and wanting to get that done. But that helps people solve the problem. I just find I'm getting, and I stick to that and just trying to present myself as a solution. That's what I've really, really been focusing on, and it seems to be helping and growing my business.
Very good. That's fabulous. Daisy, how about you? I think you had mentioned that it's you're having a little more time to do some
Yeah.
marketing things. Or
Mhm.
what else are you doing?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we need to follow up the past sales because I represent buyers a lot in the
Mhm.
past 4 years, and a lot of them maybe think about selling when the market become better. So we need to follow up more with those past sales. Yeah. So
Okay.
when they think of selling, they will come to you.
Yep. Very good. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Carla, what are you seeing? I know I've got a house and a condo in Palm Beach, Florida, and my condo is it seems like it's losing $100,000 a month in value.
Mhm.
What's
I
what, what what's happening further south, or what's happening over in Miami, I should say.
Yeah, Miami's has like two very predominant markets, which are like the single family and the condo market. And the condo market, like we're just seeing so much inventory sitting on the market because of the you know the issues with assessments.
Yes. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of
The state coming down on the
yeah.
condos. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's been really the ongoing kind of, talk with clients that want to sell, them understanding that if they want to sell, they have to be very competitive. We have over 13 months worth of inventory on the market for condos. So
And growing.
and growing, yes. And
Yeah.
if you're seeing that you want to sell, no buyer is going to want to buy your property with an assessment. So, speaking to sellers about realizing that they either have to pay the assessment at closing, right?
Yep.
Or maybe sit with the condo if they can afford it, of course, because some of them, are just distressed sellers that need to sell because they cannot pay the assessment, right?
Right.
So I am seeing that is obviously affecting the value of each tower, because if you are distressed and you're just bringing the price down, then it affects everybody on the building. um, and on the other side, we're also seeing a lot of pre-construction, like I was saying, and that's there's a product for everyone. While there's distressed buyers on resale condos, you have pre-construction condos that are still selling, maybe at a slower pace, but there are people that are buying, rather than them buying a used condo with potential issues, and potential future inspections and assessments and things like that. Some of them are leaning toward maybe buying something in pre-construction and getting something new, delivered
Yep.
in a couple of years. So yeah, it's definitely interesting what is happening right now in South Florida. I think there's gonna have to be some changes coming in the law,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to help with these assessments, because there's an older generation too that is being impacted by this. I've heard stories of people that are having to move because they just cannot, they're retired, they cannot afford to pay the assessments. So
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of older buildings in Florida that need a lot of work.
yeah, I'm hearing a lot of stories out there where if it's the building are too old, there's going to be also developers that can come by and um, if people can't can't pay the assessments, then they'll likely have to buy out the whole building and, build a brand new tower,
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on out there with the condo market. On the single family side, however, there is definitely more inventory sitting. We are definitely on a buyer's market, over 6 months of worth of inventory. However, the prices are not dropping on single families. It's
Yes.
there's still a lot of people looking for single families. It's just that right now we're seeing a lot more negotiations happening, more concessions from the seller side. So it's a good time, if you ask me, for people to get in the market and make those deals, because as we know, once those rates come down, especially in markets that are, highly, wanted and popular, such as South Florida, everybody comes on the market and then prices start going up. So I
Right.
think this is a really good market for people that want to go in and make deals and, have concessions and negotiate somewhat.
Sure. No, very good. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Brent, what's happening in your market?
So I think Texas is fairly similar to Florida, where we get a lot of supply popping up and demand is not popping up
Yeah.
right now. So so things have slowed down a lot. They've slowed down a lot, and so I think the original question was just kind of like, what are we doing? What's changing? It's always changing. So we are kind of, we try to remain fluid with what we do, but our focus is on affordable housing, and we just kind of, we focus on that, and it looks just different. It looks a little bit different in different markets. I mean, for us, like, obviously we flip houses, but if it makes more sense to just hold it as a rental, we do that too. And then we do a lot with seller financing or owner financing.
Yep.
So that's been very helpful for us. And
That's a great adaptation.
that's really helped us a lot in certain markets.
Yeah, and you mentioned affordable housing, so I mean that's pretty popular in any market, I would think. In any conditions, generally.
Generally, so we say, we focus on medium price housing and below.
Yep.
There's some exceptions, but that's what we do. And because whether the market goes up or down, if the market goes up, then we may lose, buyers because they're going to a higher end market, but
Yep.
we're typically gaining buyers because there's people moving from being renters in apartments to homes. And then if the market is going down, vice versa, people may downsize. And so you're just insulated at that level of the market, where you're not insulated in the upper areas of the market. So that's what we do. We've got like mobile home parks and RV parks and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just it's different than a few years ago, where everything we were putting on was like going above list in like 5 seconds, it seemed like. And now it's not. It's not.
Right, exactly. Yeah, as I say, it's like watching paint dry.
It's not as much fun.
It's not as much. Yeah.
You can make money here. You can make money potentially.
Yeah.
Even more to your balance sheet, but it's not as much fun.
No, for sure. Yeah, I know. I know in my market, Seattle, we just went to 3 months inventory, which at the beginning of the year we were at 2 months, and then we have a bunch of Microsoft and Amazon, which are both headquartered here.
Yeah.
A lot of layoffs, and those guys are the ones that are buying the $1 million. So we've seen our market slow down dramatically, and being primarily a listing agent, I just have to set the new expectation with my primarily with my sellers, and their neighbor's home may have sold in February, which actually is our best season. But now in June we get into summer. The market isn't as brisk in our summer, because we live for our summers up here. But so yeah, just kind of setting expectations, trying to do some more circle prospecting, see if we can find a neighbor that has a relative or friend that wants to move into their area. So haven't really seen any nexus, by making these circle prospecting calls that we're selling it any faster, but it's kind of out of frustration of trying to figure out how to get it sold. So seeing a lot of price drops. Almost everything is being price dropped. So yeah, it's not a fun time, but learning how to adapt is just critical to keeping going. This time will pass, and
Yeah.
really,
For sure.
it always cycles through.
Yeah, I seen a lot of people come and go, and it's the people that go, or the people that aren't able to pivot or do
Yep.
things a little different. They'll enjoy the riches that come in boom markets, but they don't realize like it's not going to last forever, and then it's ending, and they're still trying to do that one thing, and I'm like, you can't do that. And
Right.
so you gotta be flexible. And I've found that I don't always like it. I'm like, I don't want to switch, I don't want to pivot, I don't want to change this. But I've just, as you get older, you try to embrace it, and the quicker that you can embrace it, I'm like, oh, it's not bad, it's just it's the new normal, and this is fun.
Yep.
too. And now I've learned something, and when the old thing comes back, then I'll have that tool in my tool belt, I can utilize it. But now I've got a new one, and I'm glad I was able to adapt.
Absolutely. I think that's a great mantra to have out there, Brant. So perfect. Brian, how are we doing time wise?
I was muted. You guys are right on track. You've got about 10 minutes left.
Oh, we do. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure if we started earlier or not. Okay. Perfect.
Awesome.
So let's kind of the final question here, and really kind of one of my favorites over the years. Like, if you were a brand new agent, kind of knowing what you know now, let's just say, and had to parachute and gain traction in a new city or town, what would your first steps be? Maybe 1, 2, or 3 steps. So I've always mentally thought that if someone strapped a parachute on me and I'm up in Seattle, but if I had to go into the Phoenix, Arizona market and really had to make traction because I was hungry, what would the first steps, to get transactions going and get clients, working with you? Daniel, what are your thoughts on that? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I think learn your the best you can. I think I'd probably would have tried to have a lot more conversations and worked my sphere of influence right off of the bat right away. And I think I probably would, if I could go back, I would have started doing SEO a lot earlier and understanding how it works. And, once you start doing blogs, videos, putting stuff out there that people are consistently searching for, I think that's what I would have done is figure out what people are searching for within the niche that you want to work in, and really double down on building content around that for them to watch and view and find online.
Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, great information there. Wow. Daisy, how about you? Might have lost Daisy there. Let's go to Carla. Carla, what would you do if you're in Miami? Let's say you had to relocate to Phoenix, Arizona. what would the first two, or maybe 1, 2, 3 steps that you would do?
If I had to move markets, that's interesting, because I was about to say I would do the same thing, sphere of influence, and see how I go about that. But if I had to move to a new market, I would certainly start probably doing more of a video on that market to try to get, probably myself to be known more about the neighborhood exactly that I'm moving around. Just because I feel like if we market at least or farm our own area, people get to know you and people get to trust you quicker. So that being, I don't know if it's a single family market, just walking around the neighborhood or maybe dropping some mailers or doing maybe some videos that, people around the neighborhood can actually see through maybe a little bit of ad exposure. I would do that. And again, that's just because it's a complete new market where my sphere of influence may or may not be there. um, However, what I can tell you is that the beautiful thing about being with EXP and being able to continue working on your downline is that you can be everywhere. So I do have right now two agents that work in different markets where I did have, a sphere of influence, and I can continue connecting with that sphere of influence and still move deals there because I have some sort of presence there through those agents. So, we could really move anywhere as long as we're consistently having and working our downline business. We could have really presence in everywhere, without having to feel like we're starting from nothing. So I think that's what I would do.
Fantastic. No, I think those are great ideas there. Perfect. Perfect. Brent, how about you?
Well, I'll tell you that my wife is from the beauty industry, and years ago she was she quit working for a long time to raise a kid. She's like, I want to go back to work, so she got her license, can work with me, and she mainly just helped me, but the layups were always the referrals, and so I know referrals are always great. And if you're in your primary market, then I would say focus on who's with your customers and your clients, and that they're not serving them in that capacity, and that you could serve. So what's worked out well for her is like all of her contacts in the beauty industry, and not just the clients, like the salon owners and people that she knew. So she would do her best to like send people to them, and then they would refer people to her. So that's worked really well. If you were just starting over or going into a new market on that, I would just say focus on what you're best at and what you're really going to commit to. Because what I found is like any form of marketing works as long as you're consistent and committed to it. So I would just, what you're most excited about, just do that and commit to it, and that's probably what's going to be your best avenue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great thing. For me, I would, not being huge on social media. I wish I were, and wish I had some video content, things like that. But, for me, I'd probably go a little more caveman style. One is I'd probably find other agents that I could do even daily open houses just to really get an idea of the market and start getting some traction. That's what I did when I started in real estate, just daily open houses, and just be able to go belly to belly and talk to people and get them to know, like, and trust you. And then number two would be just meet with local connectors. I mean, I still do that today, again, with the chiropractors, financial planners, and just people that are looking to generate clients themselves. And if we can work together, then it then you're building your database, you're building your referral network, things like that. So pretty exciting. All right, I'm assuming that we are at the end of our program here. It has been an absolute pleasure having the opportunity to moderate this with this fantastic professional panel that has just brought a lot of value to all of us today. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us today. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. And all of you out there in the audience, you have a great rest of your weekend. We will not be here next Friday because it is the 4th of July. So y'all